Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing something different. I'm actually adding my voice to this video because I wish to talk about my thoughts on acecombat. As this is a free-to-play game, there's going to be something for sale. Namco Bandai is a business and do wish to make money. So the first thing we'll look at is the campaign pass costing £11.99. Now it says that this gets you 8 missions and you no longer have to use in-game money to unlock or replay these missions. Let's say this is true for now. That means it costs £1.49 per mission, which is around about 4 to 5 minutes of gameplay. Now I am going off the first 2 missions because I don't have any more unlocked. But if you actually look at the game itself, it will show you that there is actually only 5 missions in game, with the 6th coming soon. Yeah, please define soon. Oh dear, you can't. So let's go with there being 5 missions in a single player game. This means it actually costs £2.49 per mission. Yeah, not particularly great. Let's take a look at the other items, well, some of the other items for sale. There's no multiplayer pass. Instead, you can buy what's called fuel. It costs 1 fuel per sortie. It costs around £28 for 60 fuel, again with each mission having a 4 to 5 minute time limit. That means at best value it costs 47 pence per sortie, as the game calls it. Okay, so I'm not going to be paying anything to play this game, as I perceive the value to be too low to be worth paying for. Again, this is what I think. You don't have to agree. So where does that leave me? Say I wish to unlock the 3rd mission, which costs 200,000 credits at, say, an average of 7,000 per mission, which is unrealistic. I am being generous. It would take me 28.5 sorties to earn enough to unlock said mission. I found my own scores were closer to 4,500 on average, depending on how lucky I was. As in how lucky I was with competition. Sometimes I would get very good competition, sometimes I would have people who would just fly into the floor repeatedly. So you get 6 free sorties a day, 1 every 4 hours, with a maximum of 3 fuel held in reserve, like a Facebook energy bar. That means playing as much as I can once every 12 hours and not unlocking plane upgrades. It will take me 4 days to unlock the 3rd mission, or I could spend money on stock fuel and use 29 fuel to do the same. There are other items that increase research progress on planes and another type for special weapons, as well as items that increase money earned. With the lack of in-game money, the research items feel worthless. They just mean you end up not being able to progress research until you've made money much faster. Here you can see my own tree, and you can see it quickly ramps up the cost of later planes. The Tomcat here being the 3rd fighter I'd get my hands on. You cannot progress the tree until you have bought lower tier items. Let's move on to gameplay. Now I love aeroplanes and helicopters even more so I am biased towards games like acecombat, and I have played several of the older titles, but it feels like the game has become lost in translation. Being shot down didn't feel like much of a big deal, and I found myself hitting the air brakes to stay lined up to a target much longer, rather than hitting and running. Combat was intense, and it was over too quickly. Hopefully this will change with PvP. I didn't feel concerned my pad was going to fly out of my hands because I was sweating with concentration, something I did have to deal with in the older games. Air-to-ground combat seemed like the only option, and until I started ignoring air targets, I was doing poorly. Then I unlocked a mod which made my missiles go faster, and suddenly my unviable fighter became capable of air-to-air combat to the extent very little could escape. There is also no difficulty curve within multiplayer, with enemies varying wildly in difficulty. Some I actually rammed out of the air, others would one-shot me while I was pulling wild evasive maneuvers. Content has been recycled from older games, including the only raid boss. So the only real appeal is in the fact you can have 8 players controlled planes in the air at once. To sum it up, Ace Combat Infinity to me is a cheap cash-in, with an ill thought out business model that will ultimately prevent players from being able to find the game. You are much better off picking up an older full version from your local bargain bin. If you must have the multiplayer aspect, you may as well play World of Warplanes or War Thunder. Thank you very much for your time.